to this program, Voters Forum. It's another rainy day, depending on where you are. But in this part of Lagos, it's not yet raining, but in some parts of Lagos, it's raining. And in some parts of the world, either in Nigeria or Africa, it's raining. Well, I want to thank God for the gift of life once more. I want to thank God because you and I are alive. We have started seeing actions and activities. Yes, maybe the vote was worth it. We, the voters, have we been shortchanged this time around? Or indeed, we have gotten it right with the various preparation, the various inaugurations that are taking place at the state house of state capitals, in the various state houses. That's in terms of the governors, and of course inauguration in the various houses of assembly all over Nigeria. We are with that of the National Assembly, elections of the principal officers, and of course we will now kickstart the act of development, the act of democracy, the act of good governance, and of course you and I started enjoying better life. With the signs so far from our president, it seems we are in for a good time. But again, we won't preempt you. The only thing I know is that as a pastor, and as I know as a pastor, and the Bible tells me that the morning shows the day. The way the man has started, it means that he's going to do something marvelous. But just as I said last week, if he does not perform, we are here to fight him. But now we're going to support him. We are going to ensure that everything done, and of course he has said that he's open to ideas, and we are here. This table, this program, is for us to profile ideas. You and I will all talk and ensure that the president listens to us and of course moves the way this country will be. Today we are going to look at a very important topic too. But before we go there, I want us to look at our mini future today. Then when we come back, we'll get cracking. Don't go away. Tell your people, Voters Forum is on, and of course they should just sit down, relax, and enjoy the program. We brought to you a great guest, and that guest is going to marshal the points for you to your own understanding, and of course making it interesting. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the mini feature.
The effect of the subsidy removal might contradict what the president-elect is trying to achieve with his promise of peace and economic renaissance. Also, it could further immiserate the citizenry and erase any glimmer of hope. Previous administrations who executed the policy of subsidy removal met with opposition and stiff resistance from most Nigerians, and the same could be the case if this removal process is not strategically handled. Aside from the hardship it would bring Nigerians, most of who already live beyond the poverty line, the government has done almost nothing to prepare the nation for the new regime of removal. Subsidy removal should not be sudden. People should know when it would happen well in advance. Because of how long fuel subsidy has been with us, a minimum of 3 years notice. During the period, government efforts on the programs to improve options for affordable transportation, healthcare, education and the likes should be accelerated and should form part of a robust communication strategy that helps to prepare the citizenry for such a major change in policy and its potential impact. Removing the fuel subsidy could lead to an increase in the price of petroleum products. This in turn could lead to inflation and reduce purchasing power for consumers. This could have a ripple effect across the economy, impacting the cost of goods and services. Additionally, removing the subsidy could lead to social unrest and protests as people may perceive the government as insensitive to their needs. There is also a risk that the removal of the subsidy could lead to a rise in fuel smuggling and other illegal activities. In confronting this tax, the president-elect must gain public trust by garnering the support of critical economic and political actors, the media and the citizens. He must show empathy. More expedient, there needs to be a licensing committee set up at the local government, state and national level, comprising among others traditional rulers, religious leaders, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, community leaders and critical agencies of government who would effectively clarify and convey the import of the subsidy removal policy priority on the nation's economic revival. The president-elect must ensure transparency by making public a well-thought-out policy framework for the utilization of the funds. These funds should be deployed into cushioning the effects of subsidy removal for the short and long term. Developing our gas reserve and building infrastructure for their utilization is an important step to drive economic prosperity while cushioning the effects of subsidy.
You heard it directly. I deliberately did not want to let the cat out of the bag today. I want you to be involved and to be sensitive and to be attentive. The issue we are discussing today is that of the effects of the removal of the fuel subsidy. And you have heard it yourself. Do we have any effect? How is it going to tell on the economy? What is it in terms of the availability of cash or money in the hands of government to spend to take care of you and I in terms of provisions of security, amenities like roads, health facilities, creating employment, creating industrial zones, and all such other things that money can be used to do. I won't go further. Our guest is right-seated, and he's no other person. He's an old face here, a regular face as it were. His name is Kingsley Chime. He's a legal practitioner, and of course, a political analyst. Kingsley,
thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm grateful.
You're welcome. The effects of subsidy removal. Obviously, you too, you own a car, and of course, you know what it is, and you have colleagues or friends who don't own a car, who are even the beneficiaries at the hands of the mercy of road transporters. And I know if you don't go to the market, you hear news about prices in the market.
For sure.
Can you just put us up to speed concerning your experience in this regard?
Well, thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, let me begin by saying that fuel subsidy regime started in Nigeria as far back as the 70s. You know, it was introduced as a way of subsidizing the petroleum products for average Nigerian. You know, because Nigeria operates a mono economy, where economy is essentially predicated on oil revenue. So whatever affects the petroleum products will definitely have a ripple effect in other economies. So subsidy removal has always been at the front burner, be it at the national or state level, or even at the market level, because it moves the economy, especially as Nigeria is concerned. Now, in 2012, I'm aware that in 2012 there were attempts by Goodluck Jonathan's regime to remove fuel subsidy at the time, which led to a series of protests across Nigeria, and that idea was mooted. And ironically, the president of Nigeria was also part of those who championed that subsidy at the time should not be removed. However, by a twist of fate, has brought Tinubu as the president, and he has seen the need to remove the subsidy. By the way, for close observers would understand that 2023 budget subsidy was never factored, and subsidy was not captured in 2023 budget. So it's expected that the new administration, the subsidy may not be sustainable. However, people have condemned the attitude or the way in which the announcement was made, and Nigeria couldn't wait till the terminal date of the subsidy that's already running before petroleum marketers decided to change their prices. Of course, subsidy removal would have, like I said, a far-reaching effect on every part of our economy in Nigeria, not just for car owners. It has to affect the cost of building materials, the cost of food items, agricultural produce. So it cut across the entire economy. Of course, part of the agitation, part of the concerns of Nigerians is that, yes, I'm aware that all the major contenders in the 2023 general election did say they were going to remove subsidy. So it is not really about APC or really about Tinubu. It's about what is on ground. Nigeria don't have that money as it is to continue to subsidize petroleum products. And knowing the fact that petroleum, downstream, upstream, and midstream sector of Nigeria has always been characterized by corruption. We do not know how much oil, revenue we make at the end of every month. We don't know how much is being distributed. What we have on record is that Nigeria we consume about 600 million or thereabout liters every day, and that has always been static. So does it mean that if you buy fuel today, you're going to buy tomorrow? So there are a lot of secrecy and corruption in that sector. So what Tinubu has done, or APC government has done, was to call attention that this subsidy cannot be sustained, that the 2023 budget did not capture the sustenance of this policy. So he rightly removed it. But the question is, there were no mechanisms in place to cushion the effect of this subsidy removal, because this far-reaching implication also has to do with the increase in purchasing prices of so many products. Yeah. Now, someone who earns 1 naira or 2 naira could no longer be able to buy the same amount of products he used to buy with similar amount. So government ought to have put in certain things in place to cushion the effects of this subsidy removal.
Okay. They ought to, which I agree with you, that before the removal, something must be done. But I want to believe that this government is a listening government. And I want you to re-echo this last statement, that they have to do something. This is not an issue of medicine after death. It should be medicine before death. So the issue is that there should have been things on ground before this subsidy is removed. Now that the subsidy has been removed, what is the way forward? What should government do? They have already removed it. Either they are crying. So far, you will see that indeed Labour have shelved the strike. Only God knows what government told Labour. Some other groups too that we are intending to strike have all shelved the sword. Only God knows what government has done. But we on this table, what is your advice to the government in terms of cushioning the effect? Must it be something immediate, or they should just relax and let it be? And like other situations, you know, before there were situations where they would say that they are bringing in palliatives and so on, and it never saw the light of the day. This one too, will it go that same way?
Well, part of the concerns Nigerian citizens have, in fact, every well-meaning Nigeria understands that subsidy in Nigeria is not sustainable.
Yes.
But because there has been a gap between the leaders and the led.
Yes.
There is this disenchantment and distrust.
Yes.
So people don't believe that even after the subsidy is removed,
yes,
that the whatever money that will realize from the subsidy will be channeled into other ventures that will give life more meaning to Nigerians. So because of this disenchantment and disillusionment between the people and their government, they feel that they can't trust government enough with some of these good intention policies.
Yes.
So government, of course, has removed the subsidies now, but it's better late than never.
Yes.
Now, there should be, like you said, there must be a palliative, both immediate and long term. There must be some buffers to cushion the effects of this, because it's beginning to affect Nigerians. Most companies, organizations are winding up. Some of them could not sustain, because if someone that earns a certain amount of money, that money has been increased in terms of transportation by 300%. Whatever the person is doing is no longer sustainable. So government must churn out policies to cushion the effect, the immediate and remote effects of this subsidy removal. That should have been in place before the subsidy is actually removed.
Yes,
but having done that, yes, they must go ahead to ensure that they put in some of these policies, which of course includes the increase in salaries, because those who are earning static amount of money, they have to earn certain amount to be able to meet up with the economic situation.
Yes.
Now, there's also have to have more infrastructural development,
okay,
you know, to cushion the transportation system, because for some of us in this part of the country, there's little or no public transportation system. That's why you see everybody driving their cars. You have traffic everywhere. If we have public transportation system, you know, and government comes in to either subsidize those transportation aspects, you know, people will have some buffers, you know. But where that is not in place, that is where the problem is. You rightly mentioned, of course, labor threatened at the time that they were going on strike, you know, to protest. A day or 24 hours before that, we got a court order, you know, stopping them from embarking on strike and all of that. But we know there's some political undertone to some of those things. What is key is that this government must show sincerity of purpose. It has started well, even though the election is being challenged, but it actually shows that the government is actually prepared and ready. They don't have to wait for long months or years before they begin to implement certain policies. So they kickstarted the process very well, but they must have human sympathy and ensure that Nigerians do not, you know, have too much impact of this subsidy removal.
Yes, I'll just add to what our guests have said. One of the things that I think government should do is that they will be saving billions of naira, in fact trillions of naira from the removal of subsidy. This subsidy initially was going to the pockets of some few individuals who are not up to 1,000 in this country, and they were making money in the billions without doing anything. But now that this money has been saved, I will advise that government should quickly do a lot of things in terms of making food available, food, rice, making, maybe if they can do a ticket for transportation and collaborate with national transport organization, so that people who want to enter take a bus, they will have funded it and so on and so forth. Set up a monitoring team that will monitor it, and of course in the area of food, there will be distributions that will be set up. We have it, it can be done, and of course it has been done before, that government imported food items for people who are very, very at the low class, so that the effect of this subsidy will not be felt seriously. And of course, several other things that needs to be done in terms of improving, using the excess, the money saved now to improve on our road, build up health facilities, and of course, even help or give subsidy now to industries. Factories that my brother now here said are folding up because they are difficult to work on. And when such factories are working, definitely people will be engaged. And once people are engaged, then it will bring down the rate of crime, and of course will even expand the economy itself. There are so many ideas that we'll give to the government to work on. Ours is that we see government at work, so that at the end of the day, everyone is happy. Before I go on, we have a number that you send your messages to here. I'm holding this phone directly. So if you phone rather than sending text, I will just note your number and report you to the appropriate authority. Apart from the fact that I will block your number here, so you'll not be able to send text, you'll not be able to even do anything with me. So the best thing is that please just comply. Just comply. The number to send your text messages to is 070 577 07376. I repeat, the number to send text only to is 070 577 07376. Please just send a text message about the issue we are discussing today. No name calling, no abusive word. In fact, if you abuse, I'm the one reading. I will not read it. Let me just put you on notice. I'm not going to read any abusive message. If you don't waste your time typing, because I won't read it. Now, let's go back to our topic. This effect, is it possible that people can now support each other, because there are some people who have the means of overcoming this fuel subsidy removal. Is it possible that we become a brother's keeper in terms of support?
I was having a conversation with a friend recently in respect of this subsidy removal.
Yes.
And I was trying to give me a million reasons why the removal was necessary at this time. But he said something. He said the Nigerian of the lower class, or the average Nigerians,
yes,
the only thing they benefit from this government is that subsidy.
Yes.
That is where the poor of the poor, have this effect of government in Nigeria. That once this is removed and people cannot be able to afford, and affordability is not about buying the petroleum product itself, but the effect it will have on the prices of goods and services in the market. Yes. So that it is better that the subsidy continues. Those who are looting the country will continue to loot. After all, it has been there since 1970s. While I understand his own point of view, because it boils down to that trust deficit I was talking about. Of course, Nigeria, without subsidy or no subsidy, people ordinarily should have milk of human kindness, to support one another in terms of need. But to what extent? We are talking about driving economy. You can't continue to feed someone. If the economy is balanced, everybody, you don't have to depend on anybody for you to sustain yourself or your family. So we are looking at the holistic, how the economy is going to affect the generality of Nigerians. The economy, Nigeria, oil revenue accounts for 90% of our foreign earnings in this country, and about 60 or thereabout percent of our revenue, about 6 or 7% of our GDP. So it shows that once the oil sector coughs, the entire country catches cold. So it's going to affect everyone. So we should rather look at how government will also make some interventions. Yes, I understand. I made the point that individuals, of course, although the way to do in the society, must, of course, be their brother's keeper in terms of these difficult moments. But the bigger picture lies on the government to ensure that they make policies, particularly with respect to electricity. Because when we talk about fuel subsidy, most of these people buy as simple as 1 or 2 liters just for them to power electricity in their houses, because there's no power.
Yes.
So if there is power, it also reduces the consumption.
You made a valid point.
It also reduces the consumption. So if you have this, people ordinarily who buys, let's say 1 or 2 liters, will buy that once in a week, and it will save those costs they would have invested in buying it every day.
Since I've been a kid, or since I was a kid, there's this project called the Mambila electricity project. Till tomorrow, I'm sure till tomorrow as in tomorrow, I'm sure it will not see the light of the day. And billions of naira has been spent into it, and I hope that the Tinubu administration will look into that, because if we have power, a whole lot of things will go down. As I'm talking to you now, this station runs on diesel 24/7.
Actually, everyone is a minister of power in their homes.
And everyone is a minister of power. You run diesel, you run petrol. And now that prices of these products have gone up, you can imagine what it will be for goods and services. So if power can be addressed as a result of this removal of fuel subsidy, I didn't know, I don't want to mention the name of an electrical company that came from Canada. They wanted to do it, but along the line, maybe some people saw that they were on the verge of delivery, and they truncated the whole thing, and those people were sent packing. The same thing, the Metro Line project too. If all these issues are done very well, you can be sure that we are going to have a good week.
Yes,
but again, before we move away, when you were talking, something struck my mind, and that is the issue of the refineries themselves. Can we go there? Is this something that is doable?
Yes,
or we continue to import fuel?
No, I think Petroleum Industry Act that was assented into by President actually deregulates petroleum sector, both upstream, midstream, and downstream. That is why we have somebody like Dangote, and I think other private individuals may begin to invest in that aspects, you know. So if that is done, we'll have, but it's just unfortunate that the whole country, whole Nigeria as a country, we don't have a running a refinery that is sufficient for us. And one individual now built one of the biggest refineries in the world. So, but of course, while we condemn government for overlooking their own responsibility, we also commend them for the platform opportunity they give private investors for them to invest. And I think recently, like just yesterday or thereabouts, also President Tinubu also assented to a bill that would allow private investors to come into power sector, you know, so people can begin to, you know, produce power and distribute, you know. So these are some of the policies that will create that enabling environment for industries and businesses to thrive, and for Nigerians to begin to feel the impact of governance in their country.
Okay. We hope indeed Nigerians will begin to feel the impact of governance in this country. That's our hope, and that's what we in Voters Forum we are all about. This program is to feel you and to make you be in contact with government. This forum is for you, the voters. And we'll be using this platform to sensitize. And of course, very soon we'll be bringing those that we have elected into office to come and give us their scorecard. I guess we are counting down their first 100 days in office. So far, how many days have you counted for them? What have they done? Severally, both the president and the governors. Then they will soon inaugurate the members of the House of Assembly, and the members of the National Assembly. Then we'll now begin to count fully down on them, seeing what they have done and what they have not done. Yes, the tests have started coming in. I'll start to read them, but before we read the test, let us go for this short break. And when we come back, we'll now get cracking. We'll look at the second leg again of this program. Don't go away. Tell your people the light of politics is around. Voters Forum is the name. We'll soon be back.